Hello friends, while working in organization of any kind where ISO 9001 2015 is part of the organization system, sometimes we found it too difficult to understand or difficult to implement, and the reason is that we don't understand it basic way. So we end up in wrong results because of wrong understanding and wrong implementation. Well, this chart or this diagram shows the entire thing about the ISO 9001 2015 system. It's somewhat complicated or not easy to understand. For that, this video I am making so that anyone can easily understand the basics of this standard. There are some secrets that I am going to reveal for how to understand this standard. For that, we will first try to understand a complicated system of washing machine manufacturing process where you can see a lot of robots are working, lot of conveyors are moving, and material is coming, assembling, and moving ahead. Still, we need to understand in deeply what exactly it is going on, and then only we will clearly understand the process. For that, we will split this manufacturing process into three parts: flow of process, individual process, combined process. Let us start with the first part, that is flow process. If you see in this manufacturing process, red arrows are moving towards the end of the process, but in overall if you see, the process starts at the left and ends at the right. So why flow of the process is important to understand in general? If you see in this process, on the left side there is input, which is in the form of small pots of washing machine. Then it goes to the robots where it get processed or assembled, which is called as a process, and that convert the child parts after assembly into output. This is called as the main process. And in this main process we are having three main things, that is input, process, and output. Overall view is important to understand any process, which will give us the knowledge about flow process, control of process, start and end of process. This input, process, and output thing is called as process approach, which is very important in understanding the ISO 9001 2015. Let us move to the second part, that individual process. We seen the main process, but now it's time to go in deep to understand the individual process. I had given colors to small processes which are working with each other to form the washing machine. You can see different color small processes are going ahead to form a washing machine. So let us understand individual process with the process approach like we understood the main process with process approach. Like in main process, we saw the input, process, and output. The same way, every small process is having input, process, output. Suppose a black process is having some small parts which it is processing or assembling and making an output and giving it to the next process, that is yellow color process. Same way, every small process is input to the next process, and they are also working with the process approach, which is input, process, and output. Now, number of small processes combines to form main process, or individual process combines to form main process. Every individual process is having input, process, and output. These all small processes are input to the main process in sequence and interlinking. We can call them as a sub-processes. Several sub-processes to form main. Third part is combined process. So we seen main process, then individual process or sub-processes. Now to form the main process for manufacturing of washing machine, the small processes we need to sequence them. So sequencing some process in best possible way is important. And while sequencing we need to interlink them with each other by the process approach again. To get easy to operate mechanism or method, cost effective process, more productive process, best quality products, high speed product, environmental friendly product. Here, till now, we heard several times three words, that is process approach, sequencing, and interlinking. This is nothing but a system. We can call it as a system. Let us see the washing machine manufacturing process again with all the small sub processes colored. Now we will remove the background of washing machine picture and we can see all the small processes in different color. Let us see how process approach, sequencing and interlink can be seen here. So in this washing machine manufacturing system, we can see the process approach in all small processes or sub processes and the main process. We can see the interlink here where the black color process is getting interlinked with the red color process. Again here the purple color process is getting interlinked with the orange color process. This is very important because in main process we are feeding small processes to give them their output, that is subparts, as input. We will see it in further next slides. After interlinking we will see the sequences. Here you can see the yellow process is moving ahead and after that it is giving its input to the blue color and which is giving its output to the purple color and it moves on. We can see sequence here also. So in washing machine manufacturing system we can see there are three important things to understand. One is the process approach of main process and sub processes, then the sequencing and then the interlinking of sub processes. So combined process is nothing but a system, but in washing machine we can see they are arranged sequentially and interlinking correctly, but for that somebody has worked day and night. So we need to understand how to sequence the sub processes and interlink them to form a main process for a good output through the process approach. For that we have a simple solution which is called as a plan, do, check, act, or we can say it as a PDCA cycle or Deming cycle. You can see here we have to first plan the things, then we have to do them and we have to check whether they are okay or not or as per our expectation, and we can, if they are not as per our expectation, we can take actions which is act and we can start the cycle again. So here we can see things are in sequence, that is PDCA, and again in interlink. So we will take a small example of washing machine manufacturing process where we will see how the sequencing and interlink of the process with the help of process approach is done. Let us say there are 5 sub processes by name, by number, sub process number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and respectively the name are left panel assembly, right panel assembly, bottom panel assembly, front panel assembly, top panel assembly. Their input, because we talking about process approach, so first we will start with the input. For process sequence number 1, the input is screw and left panel. Robo will assemble these two things and will make a output. Let us call it as a sub assembly 1. In sub process 2, the inputs are screw and right panel with the sub-assembly 1 which was output in sub-process 1. Now after assembling of sub-assembly 1 screw and RT panel, we are going to make a output as sub-assembly 2 which will be going to sub-process 3 as input, and it will go till the sub-process 5 where we will assemble sub-assembly 4 screw and top panel to make the output final product as washing machine. Now this is just to understand that there are these sub-processes we are sequenced, but how to interlink them now? Let us see. Assume these are the sub-processes we had made, and let us give them number 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and they are forming a main process here, and they are sequenced in this way and interlinked with the main process. You can see here they are in the sequence and they are interlinked so that they can get a product of washing machine with a very good quality and cost effective. So where is the PDCA in this? So plan was to make sub processes 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 with input and output. So this was the plan, and we made that plan for sequencing and interlinking. And you can see the do means where we are putting all these sub processes in the main line, and the check is after this assembly line whatever output we are getting as a washing machine. If you check this washing machine quality or whatever was the requirements, if it is okay, it's okay. But if we are having some issues, then we have to take some actions which is called as an act, and we have to again move to our area where we plan the things, and we have to correct or improve the process again the plan to check act will start. That's why PDCA cycle with the process approach for interlinking and sequencing of the sub processes is important. Just for the review purpose, we will see that we started with a washing machine complicated process where it was having main process, and then we see in detail the small or sub processes, and we seen how does it work with the help of sequencing, interlinking and process approach of sub processes. In every time we seen that the base was the process approach, that is input, process and output with the help of PDCA cycle. Let us see whatever we seen till now, how it is reflecting in quality management system for understanding it clearly or easily. So 3 words are very important to understand quality management system of ISO 9001 2015. They are process approach, sequencing and interlinking. What is process approach? In short, again we will see process approach is nothing but input, process and output. Then the PDCA cycle where we are going to plan to check act for sequencing and interlinking our sub processes. Let us see the first drawing or picture that we see, how it reflects the process approach and PDCA here. So if you see at the left side, the input center, the process, sequencing, interlinking by PDCA cycle and the output. If you see in input, there are arrows from organization and its context, customer requirements, need and expectations of relevant interested parties, which are clause 4 in standard, which are as an input for this quality management system, which is also clause 4. We will talk further about that. And the process here is there are clause number 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. They are interlinked with each other, they are in sequence with each other. The first clause after 4 is the clause number 5, leadership, which is in contact with each clause by arrow to and fro. Then the after clause 5 we have to work out on the clause number 6, then clause number 7 and 8 which is support and operations, then clause number 9 which is performance evaluation, and the clause number 10 improvement. Here we can see clause number 6 is planning, where as per PDCA cycle we do the plan of entire organization. Then we go for the support and organization, that is the do, where we execute our plans. Then we check the performance in clause number 9, which is in PDCA cycle check, where we check the output, and if any issues we do the improvement in clause number 10, which is act. So after all these clauses implementation in organization, what output we are getting as per this standard? The output first is customer satisfaction, second is result from these QMS, and products and services for which the organization runs. Let us see in detail how this works. So input, we've seen that inputs are customer requirements, organization's goal, government requirements, partners requirement, or supplier requirements. These things, once you read the standard, you will understand from where this input came from clause number 4. Now the process here, we can call them as a clause or requirements of ISO 9001:2015 system, which are nothing but the sequence and interlinks that we have to do with each other in best way to get a economical and best quality products for the organization. So we can see the clause 4 here, which is a part of input also partially and part of quality management system or the requirements. Why it is like this? Because there are 4 clauses in clause number 4 requirements. 2 are for the input and 2 are for the entire quality management system. That's why you can see here in the diagram, quality management system is written outside the main circle but inside the dotted rectangle. It works for entire quality management system. If you go in details or if you watch our another videos, you can see why it is like that. Then the 5th clause comes here, leadership. 6th clause is planning, 7th is support and operation, 8th is 9th is performance evaluation, and 10th is improvement. From this we are getting here output as customer satisfaction, QMS result, product, and service. So just to understand the basic about to go for implementation or training or to understand ISO 9001:2015 requirements, how we can use this philosophy. So first, as I told, to understand you have to go with the process approach, the sequencing thing, and plan to check act. While getting training or while reading the standard, it is very important. Second, if you are implementing in your organization this standard, you have to understand the merger of organization's existing practices or requirements and ISO 9001:2015's requirement by these 3 things. Third, while making process for each clause requirements, every organization runs on some process and that process should match or merge with the ISO 9001:2015. So while doing this merging or making the process, we need to use this philosophy. While making formats for documented information, after process we need some documents or documented information to work everyday practice, everyday work, and for that we need some formats. These formats also need to be made on this philosophy. And lastly, to implement ISO 9001:2015 QMS effectively and economically. Otherwise, if you don't understand the basic of this standard, it will result in a wrong direction and wrong results. So let us summarize that for this vlog. We found 3 secrets to understand ISO 9001:2015. And the first secret is process approach, second is plan to check act, and third is sequencing and interlink of process. Here I would like to tell you that if you are reading or trying to understand or trying to implement ISO 9001:2015, the basic thing is to always keep in mind process approach, plan to check act, sequencing and interlinking of process while implementing, reading or understanding this standard. Process approach stands for process, input, output. Plan to check act for anything that you are going to do. For example, if you want to make any process of QMS clauses or you are going to make any real process of manufacturing, always use PDCA cycle and process approach. And the last one is sequencing and interlink of the processes. For details while implementing how to use them in details, you can see our other vlogs also. I hope this will help you in journey of ISO 9001 2015. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe the channel and like the channel.